Welcome back to the Greenville Chamber's Growing a Greater Greenville podcast. We're excited to continue our Greater Together series on the partnerships that shape Greenville. I'm your host, Carlos Phillips, and today we're talking to John Lummus, President and CEO of Upstate SC Alliance. How you doing, John?
Hey, Carlos, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, I want to take a minute to thank the sponsors of today's episode, Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, First National Bank, and Acumen IT. Thank you to these sponsors. All right, John, you ready to jump right in?
Ready to jump right in.
Good deal. John, help our listeners understand the important role that Upstate Alliance plays in our region.
Sure. We are the Regional Economic Development Alliance for the Upstate 10 counties of South Carolina. So what that means is we market the region to the world. We go out and try to find new business and recruit those into the region. We also work with talent recruitment. We've worked very closely with our public and private sector partners, which include our local economic developers at the county and city level, our chambers of commerce, and then our private sector investors. And what we're trying to do is strengthen the region and make it the best place possible for businesses to locate here. I would say that, we started in the year 2000. We'll be 25 years old next year. And we were created because really a region can be more successful than individual cities and counties in attracting economic development. And that has really, really worked out over the last 25 years. And over the last 5 years, we had about $11 billion in new investment and about 27,000 new jobs created across the region. Of course, we don't take credit for that as the Upstate Alliance. We're really just the marketing, lead generation, business recruiting arm. But, the success has been great. The success has been great all throughout the region, and Greenville being at the top of the list there. So, one of the biggest things about the Upstate is our labor force. We have about 725,000 people working in our labor force. And we are generally recruiting manufacturing, innovation, and technology jobs. We have about 2,300 manufacturers in the Upstate, and which makes it pretty easy to recruit more manufacturers because they know that those 2,300 have been successful for some reason. We also have about 575 international companies that are located here, some very large ones like BMW and Michelin, and a lot of smaller ones too. So one of the biggest things about our region is that we do work very well together. We call ourselves Team Upstate because we work so well with our public and private sector partners across the region, getting out this message.
Thank you for that, John. Now, beyond the labor force and the educational institutions and what have you, what are some other ways that you market the Upstate region? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but if you had an elevator pitch, what would that elevator pitch be?
I think well, I'll talk a little bit about the ways that we market and who we market to, and then what our elevator pitch is. Is that okay if I go in that direction?
Perfect. That's perfect.
We work a lot with what we call site consultants. Probably 50% or more of our leads come from site consultants each year. And these are a group of people that work, in the U.S. and some internationally that work with the companies to find new locations. So if you narrow that playing field down a little bit if you go from all the companies in the world to the major players that are working and locating these companies, that's a good way to go about it. We also go on trade missions where we, get lead generation services to help us locate companies. We do a lot of research in locating companies, and we do over 30 outbound and inbound events per year in recruiting. One of the best ways of doing this recruiting is to get people to actually come and visit here. So when we bring projects into our region, this is a show place. Taking people to downtown Greenville and showing them the entire upstate region is a pretty incredible way to do it. If I was going to give my elevator pitch about our, why our region has been so successful, number one, like I said before, it's our workforce. It's our strong manufacturing, technology, innovation based workforce. Number two, it's our location in the marketplace. We're halfway between New York and Miami, halfway between Charlotte and Atlanta. We're in one of the fastest growing business areas in the country. Thirdly, I would say our international presence. 575 international companies here from 35 countries. That makes our economy strong because we are a global economy here. We're a manufacturing, exporting economy, and those international companies have chosen to be here because they've had success here. The fourth thing I would say is that we're a right to work state. We have the lowest level of unionization of any state in the country. And that is helpful when we are recruiting not only domestic companies, but also international companies. Fifth, I would say our government business cooperation. We are a business friendly state. Our government works very closely from the state level all the way down to the local levels on permitting, getting things done. And the sixth thing, it would be that we are a small state and we do work together cooperatively, much as we do in our region. We work that way across the state, and we want companies to be here, and we get that message out.
Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina is a longtime partner of the Greenville Chamber and offers a wide range of health plans and options designed just for Chamber members. Companies with 51 or more employees have access to Chamber Blue, Blue Cross's exclusive portfolio of more than 40 unique health plans, with enhanced office visit copays, access to innovative apps, and more. Blue Cross is the only South Carolina health insurance carrier serving its citizens for more than 75 years. For information about our health plans for Chamber members, call the Greenville Chamber at 864-239-3723.
Yeah, that's great, John. I've often heard two things about South Carolina. Our governor likes to say that we're a handshake state.
I agree.
And that's a good thing. There's a lot of trust between the business community and government. So that's great. Also, South Carolina we are large enough to scale, yet still small enough to get things done. So to your point about how South Carolina is small, we are small, but we can still scale and get things done here as well. So that was a great pitch, John.
Thank you. That was probably a long elevator ride. That was probably like a 20-floor elevator ride.
All of those were great points and very well stated. Thanks for sharing that. So, with all of the assets that South Carolina and the Upstate brings to bear, share with us, if you will, some of your recent successes. Who has the pitch worked on?
Well, interestingly, last year in 2023, we had the most announcements that we worked on from the food and beverage industry. And one of the reasons for that, with COVID, disrupting supply chains all over the country, companies from places like Minnesota or California that used to be able to fairly easily sell their food and beverage products in the Southeast, they found out that it wasn't that easy. They couldn't do it during COVID, and it wasn't going to be that easy moving forward. So a lot of those companies have started looking for a Southeast location. Right where we sit in Greenville, South Carolina, we have 110 million customers within 1 day's driving distance. So a lot of these food and beverage companies have started looking to locate here because they can more easily access the markets that are really the fastest growing markets in the country. One of the really great announcements this past year was Nissen Foods, which is located in Greenville County. That's the Cup of Noodles folks. That came through a site consultant out of Chicago, and really incredible project that's going to grow over the next few years because I think people are going to keep eating a lot of ramen noodles. That's what we're hoping anyway. A couple other projects that were pretty interesting. We had a small one that located in Spartanburg County called Hammer IMS, which is from Belgium, and they're in automation services and technology, and they're going to locate there. And that was a result of a relationship that we built with a consultant and some different companies in Belgium. And I mentioned this one because this is how economic development works. It's really a relationship building game. We built relationships over a couple of years. I actually visited these folks at their location a year and a half ago, and then they end up coming here. So that was a great project for us, and they're going to be one that's going to grow. Another company that located last year in Greenville County is Kostwein, and it is an Austrian company. And again, it's about building those relationships in Austria and getting to know some companies, getting to know some centers of influence, we call them over there. Company moves in and they're operating in Greenville County. So, we have a lot of international success. We also have domestic success, but it's all about building those relationships and working hard to keep those relationships going. And then selling ourselves is a great place to do business.
Well, clearly, from your results, you're doing a phenomenal job of that. So, John, this podcast is all about partnership, or stated another way, collaboration. So, how important is collaboration, not only between the Chamber and the Upstate Alliance, but with your other regional economic development entities as well?
I mean, that's what we do every day. We have the setup in South Carolina economic development. We have the South Carolina Department of Commerce in Columbia that works with the whole state. Then we have the different regions. There are 8 regional alliances, and I feel like we have great relationships with all 8 of those. And then we have the 46 county economic development offices, and all 46 of our counties are located in a region. So that collaborative effect, it goes back to the fact that really, South Carolina is a pretty small state, 46 counties. Georgia has 159 counties, a little bit harder to collaborate when you have that number of folks. But it goes with this public-private sector collaborative efforts that we have going. And I really feel like the Upstate Alliance, the Greenville Area Development Corporation, the City of Greenville, and the Greenville Chamber all work so closely together in what we do. We have each of us have a different mission. Also visit Greenville and also 10 at the top. I'd put in that too. We all do something different. And as you like to say, and so do I, we all stay in our own swim lanes, but we also work together on a number of things when it makes sense. And that is so important, that organizations don't overlap and that they know that, hey, we can, do things together and be better than if we try to do it ourselves.
You want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that.
I borrowed it from someone else, but I think it's true in terms of how we approach economic development here, not only in South Carolina, but here locally throughout our region. Let's take that collaboration and talk about some specific ways that the Chamber and the Upstate Alliance collaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we collaborate a lot. One of the biggest ways has been on advocacy. The Upstate Chamber Coalition has been a very strong entity for, I guess, at least 10 years. And I worked with them when I was at Tri-County Technical College, the 3 counties I worked with there. And then as I came to the Upstate Alliance, continued to do that. And I feel like that allows our organization to be involved with advocacy without being a lobbyist principal, because really we don't need to do that if the Upstate Chamber Coalition is down there talking about the issues that are important for the 10 county region. So I think that's one of the ways, and we've really tried to support the efforts of the Upstate Chamber Coalition in sponsorships and things like that, because really y'all are carrying the water on a lot of the business issues, the economic development related issues down at the State House, and we look forward to continuing to do that. Another way that we collaborate when we have these inner city visits or groups coming in from Montgomery, Alabama, or places in Louisiana or all over the country, we're always invited to participate in that, to talk about the Upstate and to let these folks kind of know that we do collaborate together, what the business community's like, and, give them a flavor for what goes on here. And I think what really is a positive for us, not only the collaborative effort that we show that we have together, but also hopefully some of these folks are going to go back to Montgomery, Alabama, or to, Lafayette, Louisiana, or wherever it may be. And they're going to tell people, hey, this Greenville Chamber and this Upstate Alliance and this whole Upstate region, they've got it going on. And when you're looking to move a business, you may want to consider there. So I think that's a really good one. Also, the leadership development programs, we've had several people in Opportunity Greenville and in Leadership Greenville over the years. I'm actually a proud graduate of Leadership Greenville class 23. That means I'm old as the hills.
Was that the best class ever?
It was the best class ever. There's no doubt. I mean, it was incredible. And I love that. And we continue to send our staff through that. And so I think, those ways that we collaborate, and Carlos, I've told you this, I'm just a phone call or a text away. If there's ever any way I can help you to collaborate on something, and I'll do the same. We're all there to work together because we're friends, and we also have a similar vision for where we want this region to be.
Let's turn a trip to the branch into a tap on your phone. Let's hit pause on a lost debit card without hitting pause on life. That's how First National Bank is redefining convenience. With a top-rated mobile app that puts more security and control at your fingertips, and friendly people to help you succeed right by your side. Let's get started at fnb-online.com or your local First National Bank branch. FNB, member FDIC.
Agreed. John, one of the Chamber's priorities is increasing educational attainment in Greenville County. How does increased educational attainment better position the Upstate to compete on a global scale?
Yeah, if you look at a chart, which I've looked up many times, that shows educational attainment and per capita income, it is always directly in proportion. In every case, I've seen a graph with every county in the United States put on it, and without fail, it's a direct proportion, and it's just a straight line. So in order for us to continue being successful as an economy, as a region, we have to continue to increase our educational attainment. High school graduation, getting individuals into technical college programs, both credit programs and certificate programs, four-year university programs, is key to us being successful. And, we have to take those under the low income poverty level folks. We've got to bring those individuals up in educational attainment, or our region as a whole is not going to move in that direction. So it's something that we've got to continue to really, really work on. And, the South Carolina governor has done a really good job of providing free training at our technical colleges for 15 in-demand positions. And I think that's something that's going to help a lot. But another thing, we've got to get kids to graduate from high school. And if they can't do that, get them GREs. And we really need to have programs that do that, because we're not going to ever get to where we want to be if that educational attainment doesn't increase.
Agreed. And educational attainment, as you stated, it's not just about bachelor's degrees and above, but we've got a real opportunity to help folks, secure their associate degrees, high quality credentials as well, and prepare them for not just today's opportunities, but preparing them for what's next. What are the skills that are necessary to succeed in tomorrow's economy as well? So we're doing a good job, but we still have our work cut out. For us.
We have a long ways to go in that regard. South Carolina is behind in those numbers. If you look at our the national average, and then our states that we compete with, and we've got to keep working on that.
So on that note, John, what role can Upstate business leaders play in helping the Upstate Alliance be even more successful in your marketing and recruiting efforts?
Well, first of all, they can join and be a member of the Upstate Alliance,
Very nice, John.
of course. But no, in reality, being part of our group, being part of what we call Team Upstate and you know, singing off the same page of music, talking about the great things that are going on in the Upstate and, really working together to get that message out there. But we have about 230 private sector members that are involved in our group. And I know that's a small subset compared to what the chamber has, but we really utilize our members in our recruiting efforts, in talking with companies and talking with delegations that come in, because those folks, they want to talk to the Upstate Alliance, but they really want to talk to business and get the message from them about how to be successful. So having those businesses involved in our group makes a huge difference in our marketing and our recruiting efforts.
Got it. All right. So, John, we'll end our time today with this question. What advice do you have for other organizations or individuals creating their own partnerships to grow and advance their community?
I mean, I think that is vital for us to continue to get better. I think if individuals have ideas or groups that come together, first of all, they need to study and do research on, if what they're wanting to do, make sure that's not already being duplicated in the community. If it's not, move forward. Try to do it on as regional a basis as possible, but also focus in and get things done. I mean, the Greenville and the Upstate community are incredibly charitable, and also, all the organizations that want to help people that are out there. And I would say, if individuals want to come together and do something for the community good, do it. And if you can't form your own organization, get on a board, be a volunteer for an organization, and do something great, because that's the only way that we're going to improve our community is, working hard and getting together and trying to help people and trying to do things like increasing educational attainment or reducing our poverty levels to make our communities better.
Excellent advice, John. And John, I want to thank you. This has been a lot of fun. You've shared a lot of great information that I'm not sure the broader community was aware of. So thank you for sharing.
And thank you, Carlos. You're doing a super job over there. I really like working with you and collaborating. And I think that we are on a similar path and vision for how we can make our community and our region better. And I think that you and I have had about the same length of service in our jobs. And I think we've paralleled a lot. And I've really enjoyed working with you and really appreciate all that you do over there at the Chamber.
Thank you. You and your team are doing excellent work there. Also, thanks again to our generous podcast sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, First National Bank, and Acumen IT. And then finally, thank you to you, our listeners, for joining us today and for helping us in our efforts to grow a greater Greenville. Y'all take care.